If a stranger walked up to you in a cafe, trembling, alone, unable to hear your voice, but hoping you could understand her, what would you do? Before the story begins, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss powerful stories like this one. Because what you're about to hear will stay in your heart for a long time. The cafe was unusually quiet that afternoon, the kind of gentle silence that wraps around a tired single dad like warm coffee steam. Daniel sat with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who was coloring butterflies across a napkin while he tried to shake off a long week of double shifts. The world around him blurred, chatter, clinking cups, rushing customers, everything felt distant compared to the rare peace of sitting with the little girl who was his entire world. But peace is often the doorway to the unexpected, and as Daniel looked up from his cup, he noticed a woman standing just a few feet away, clutching her tablet tightly to her chest. She appeared to be in her late 20s, wearing a soft beige sweater, dark jeans, and a gentle but uncertain expression. Her eyes, fearful yet hopeful, were fixed on Daniel and Lily. She took a small step closer, inhaled shakily, then raised her hands. It took Daniel a second to understand what he was seeing. She was signing. He didn't know what she was saying, but the movement, the rhythm, the pause at the end, it didn't need words. Even Lily seemed to sense something important, her crayon pausing mid-wing. The woman unlocked her tablet, trembling slightly, and turned it toward Daniel. On the screen was a simple sentence typed in neat letters. "I'm alone, can I join you?" Daniel blinked. Of all the things he expected, a drink spill, a stranger needing a chair, maybe someone politely asking to borrow a napkin, this wasn't it. But it wasn't her request that struck him the hardest. It was the loneliness in her eyes, the kind Daniel recognized because he had worn it himself too many times after his wife passed away. The cafe suddenly felt smaller, quieter, as if the world had paused to see how he would respond. Daniel smiled gently and gestured to the empty seat, hoping his warmth translated across the barrier of sound. The woman's shoulders loosened with visible relief as she took the seat carefully, setting the tablet on the table with both hands. She typed again, "Thank you. My name is Emma. I didn't want to sit alone today." Daniel nodded warmly and introduced himself and Lily. Lily, curious and wide-eyed, whispered, "Daddy." She talks with her hands like dancing. Emma saw her whisper and smiled, an honest, soft smile that carried gratitude in every inch. She typed, "It's sign language. If you want, I can teach you a word." Lily nodded so fast her ponytail bounced. Emma showed her how to sign, friend, guiding her hands gently, moving slowly enough to make Lily feel proud when she managed it. Daniel watched the two of them, this quiet woman who walked into their world by accident, and his little girl who welcomed her without hesitation. Something was happening here, something small yet deeply meaningful. Something he didn't understand yet. And although he didn't know why Emma chose them or what silent story she carried behind those calm eyes, he felt instinctively that this wasn't just a stranger joining his table. It was the beginning of a moment that would change everything. Daniel didn't expect the conversation, more precisely, the exchange of typed messages and gestures, to unfold so naturally. Within minutes, the three of them laughed, learned, and connected in a way that felt strangely effortless. Emma explained through typed notes that she had recently moved to the city for a job at a community art center. She didn't know anyone here yet. She didn't have family close by. And because her deafness often made simple interactions exhausting, she felt isolated in a way most people never experience. Daniel understood more than she realized. Being a single dad was a beautiful responsibility, but it came with loneliness stitched into each day like an invisible thread. As Emma typed about her challenges, her fingers hesitated often, as though she feared saying too much or appearing emotional in front of strangers. But Daniel didn't see her as a burden or a complication. He saw someone brave enough to ask for connection. Someone who reached out despite the fear of rejection. Lily, meanwhile, had fully decided that Emma was her new friend. She signed, friend, to her every chance she got, even when the timing made no sense, which only made Emma laugh silently, shoulders shaking, eyes shining. As the conversation deepened, Daniel noticed subtle details he hadn't at first. Emma's hand occasionally trembling when someone walked too fast behind her, the way she scanned the room quickly to stay aware of her surroundings, the practiced calm she held whenever she needed something from the waiter but couldn't hear if he replied. This wasn't just a woman who wanted company at a cafe. This was someone carrying a lifetime of being misunderstood, overlooked, or treated differently. And yet she radiated warmth, patience, and quiet courage. While Lily drew pictures for her, Daniel typed, "Can I ask, why did you choose our table?" Emma looked at the words for a long moment. She breathed slowly, then typed back, "Because you looked kind. And sometimes, kindness feels safe." Daniel felt the words settle somewhere deep inside him. He thought of the years after losing his wife, the days he felt unseen, the nights he longed for one genuine moment of connection. And now here was Emma, honest, vulnerable, trusting him with her truth. When Lily slid a napkin drawing across the table toward Emma, three figures holding hands under a giant butterfly, Emma pressed the napkin to her chest and closed her eyes, as if absorbing the gesture fully. Daniel didn't realize it yet, but this moment would be the turning point. Not the tablet messages, not the signing lesson, not the laughter, but this one small, pure act of acceptance from a child. It cracked something open in Emma, and the pieces that fell revealed parts of her story she hadn't shared yet. Emma typed one more sentence onto her tablet, her fingers moving slowly, carefully, as if each word weighed more than its letters. "I haven't had a real friend in a long time." And something inside Daniel shifted. He didn't know how to fix the silence she lived in, but he suddenly knew he wanted to be part of the world where she didn't have to face it alone. The cafe lights glowed warmer as the afternoon dimmed toward evening, wrapping the three of them in a cocoon of soft amber. Daniel didn't want the moment to end, not for his sake, but because Emma looked peaceful in a way that suggested she hadn't felt peace in years. He noticed her watching Lily make silly faces, her shoulders relaxing, her breathing evening out. And then he saw it, her eyes glistening. Not with sadness, but with a quiet emotional release she hadn't allowed herself in a long time. Emma typed slowly, hesitating between each word as if measuring how much of her heart she should share. "People stare at me. Avoid me. Get impatient. I thought today would be another day of being invisible." Daniel read the words twice. Something hot and protective surged inside him. He didn't just want to comfort her, he wanted her to understand her worth, her beauty, her strength. So he took a deep breath, reached for the tablet gently, and typed his first long message of the day. "You're not invisible. Not to us. Not to me. You're strong, Emma, and brave. You walked up to a stranger and asked for company. That takes courage. You deserve people who see you. And I see you." Emma's lips parted. Her breath caught. She didn't need to hear his voice. She felt every word. Then Lily climbed onto the booth seat beside her and signed, "Friend," again, placing her tiny hand on Emma's wrist with the innocence only a child can bring. Emma covered her mouth with both hands, shoulders trembling, not from sadness, but because her heart was finally overflowing. She wasn't alone at this table. She wasn't an outsider. She wasn't misunderstood. She was Emma, kind, creative, gentle, sitting with two people who welcomed her without hesitation. Daniel didn't expect what happened next. Emma reached into her bag and pulled out a small sketchbook. On the first page was a charcoal drawing of a woman sitting alone at a cafe table. Shadows around her, empty chairs, a silent world. She flipped the page. Three figures appeared. One man, one child, one woman with a shy smile. A brighter light behind them. Hope in the details. She slid the sketchbook toward Daniel. "This," she typed softly, "is today." The moment something changed. Daniel stared at the drawing, speechless. He had no idea that a simple smile, a simple invitation, a simple moment of kindness could mean this much to someone. But he was grateful, deeply, unexpectedly grateful, that fate had guided Emma to his table. The cafe began to empty. Evening pressed against the windows. But none of them moved. Daniel typed one more message, gentle and sincere, "You can join us anytime. You're not alone anymore." Emma covered her heart. Tears fell, not of sorrow, but of relief. And from that day forward, everything was different. A single question, "I'm alone, can I join you?" became the beginning of a bond that rewrote the silence in Emma's life and brought new light into Daniel's. And for Lily, it was the day she gained a friend who taught her that kindness doesn't need sound, it just needs heart. Before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us of the power of kindness. True Kindness Tales.